Alright tubes, what is going on? I know it's been an excessively long time since I've made a video, and I don't really feel too good about that, and I feel like I should address it a little bit. There's not really a whole lot to say though. I've just been busy and not prioritizing the production of YouTube videos, and that's really really all there is to it. No need to make excuses. I've just been pretty lazy. So with that out of the way, I'm hoping to get back into it here. Scratch that. I'm getting back into it here. Never say you're hoping to do something if you actually want to do it. But we're going to try and hit the ground running here and start doing some cool stuff now that fall's on its way. It's not going to be too hot out to work, so on and so forth. So before I go any further here, I do want to immediately address the highly popular question of what is going on with the camper. When's the next update on the camper going to be? Did you abandon the camper? And to answer that final question there, the answer is yes, I did abandon the camper. Number one is it quickly was becoming cost prohibitive. The whole cheap budget idea was out the window the second I tried to price out siding. And second of all, I sort of just lost interest in it. I was gung-ho when I started going with it. It was real cool. It was definitely fun doing it while it lasted. But after a while, I started working on this thing on the weekends and stuff by myself, and it just wasn't really fun anymore. So that's the deal with that. I know there was an extremely large amount of interest in it, so I'm not ruling out the possibility of maybe revisiting it in the future. I have some ideas for a slightly different approach. But that's really all I have to say about that. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, I think you guys probably all want to see the racing panzer, because that's the title of this video and that's what's in the thumbnail. So let's get right to it. So here it lays, and as the title suggests, I'm pretty sure it's been about 4 years since it's moved out of this location under its own power. We did that video about 4 years ago when I got it. It was right around 4 years ago, actually, around the end of September. Right around the end of September in 2014, I think. It's October 2018 now, and we got it. We put some pipes on there and drove it around the neighborhood, wreaked a little havoc with it, and then that was really about it. I had plans for it, but obviously none of them came to fruition. First things first here, we got to be able to actually access this thing, so I'm going to try and clean some of this junk out of the way, including the remnants of the camper, and so once we get this stuff out of the way here, then we'll survey the damage and figure out what we got to do. Alright now, so we got everything cleared out of the way here, and the first thing I'm noticing that's going to require immediate attention is this tire here. This one's severely flat, and the rest of them look like they're moderately flat as well. So I brought out an air can here so we can see if they'll hold air. And then I also brought a battery out here, just a little power sports battery out of a jet ski, and I figured we'll throw that in there and see what she'll do. Alright, so I put air in this tire here, and that was probably about 5 to 10 minutes ago, and it's already leaked down pretty good, but I think it'll hold air at least long enough to get it into the garage. So meanwhile, I checked the oil level was good, checked our fuel level was good, and I installed the battery. And so what I was thinking we'd do here is we'll follow the theme established at 805 Road Kings last Monday of doing as little work possible to get the engine running. And I would say hooking up a battery and putting fuel in the tank is about as little work that you could possibly do, unless you wanted to try and pull start it. So let me get you guys set up on the tripod here, and let's crank her over. Nothing. Plug looks pretty dry. Not maybe a little bit of dampness to it, but definitely not what I would call flooded. So I think I'm going to give it a little bit of help, pour a little bit of fuel in the spark plug hole, and give her another shot. Alright, so as you saw there, it just cranked and cranked and cranked on its own, not even a pop. So I tried adding some fuel to the one side, did get a little pop out of it, then did the same thing again and didn't start. I'm not sure what that was all about. But then I tried the same thing on the other side here, and it did the same thing. So basically it pretty much narrows it down to the fact it's got some kind of a fuel delivery issue. Not surprising considering it's been sitting for 4 years. But I still want to try and keep going with the as little work as possible approach. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take the hood off just so we can kind of see what's going on better. But once I get the hood off, I should be able to get to the carburetor, maybe spray a little ether in there or something like that. And maybe it's just still a matter of trying to fill up the bowl. I'm not exactly sure. I did crank it an awful lot, but we'll see. Alright, so as you can see here, we moved out of the shed and we have a little bit more room to work here, but perhaps still not the most ideal location to be doing repairs in. But I was pretty much able to narrow the problem down. What I did is, you can see I took the whole hood off the thing, and I got the breather off so we can see the carburetor and what's going on there. And I'll explain this in a minute, but let me get it out of the way for now. What you have here is you see this hose sticking up here. That's your output from the fuel pump down here, which is pretty much a vacuum actuated fuel pump. There's a little diaphragm in there and a little vacuum line that runs down in the crankcase. Basically what it does is it takes the pressure pulses generated in the crankcase there and uses them to pump fuel. Well, I disconnected this line from the carburetor and cranked her over, and not a single drop of fuel came out. So there was our problem. And yes, I did put fuel in the tank. So what I decided to do here is I got this temporary setup here, little gas tank off some kind of Briggs & Stratton, and I just got it sitting up here running straight gravity fed into the carburetor. And my hope is that this is going to get us running at least enough to drive it up into the shop, and then it'll be a lot more comfortable for us to figure out what's wrong with the fuel pump in there. There you go. Told you it was a fuel delivery problem. Alright, we got it purring right along now. It's been running for probably about 10 minutes on its own, and everything seems good. So I'm going to give this tire another shot of air, and hopefully we can make it up into the garage under its own power. And then we can tear into this fuel pump and figure out exactly what's going on. Stand by. Alright guys, what's up? So it's actually the next day here. I did get this thing pulled up into the garage and I messed with it a little bit. And pretty much I didn't necessarily find anything that I didn't know before, but I did a little test on the fuel pump, and I pulled the line that actually was feeding it. That's this one here with the filter on it. That's the feed line to the fuel pump. And there was fuel coming out of that, so that means the fuel pump itself was getting fuel, and there was just no pumping being done. So I'm not sure what the problem with that is. If I had to guess, considering the time it sat with fuel on it, the diaphragm probably just got eaten up by ethanol. So I don't think there's really anything that can be done by that other than rebuild it. So that'll kind of be a thing to worry about for the next video. But what I figured I'd do here is I did want to take this thing at least for a little bit of a ride on camera for you guys. So what I did is I took the fuel line, I put a little extension on it, went directly into the carb here, and if you look at the way we're set up here, if you get the fuel level up about this high, you're actually over the level of the carburetor, and it'll just gravity feed. I did drive it around like this already, and one thing I noticed is it seems a little bit starved for fuel. I'm not sure if this particular style carburetor does require some positive pressure to run or not. I'll probably ask small engine mechanic that question tomorrow at engine night, but it does seem like it'll need a little bit of choke if I'm running it under load. So that's what we're going to do here. Going to take this thing for a little cruise, and I think that'll probably do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. I definitely appreciate that. We'll probably see each other with this thing again in the near future. Like I mentioned, I'm thinking of bringing it to engine night tomorrow over at Road King's house, and we can figure out what's going on with the carburetor / fuel pump, and also I want to put a gas pedal on it. So I think that's about going to do it for this video. Definitely let me know what you guys thought about this down in the comment section there, and give me a thumbs up. That helps out too, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. See you next time.